All right, Matthew, it says it's story time.
Yeah, I thought, I talk about selling games a lot. Maybe it would be interesting to integrate part of that into the podcast in some way. And so I did it.
Matthew Schultz, the scumbag reseller.
Exactly.
Story time.
I did it with a little bit of the behind the scenes of finding the Turbo Duo and the money that goes into, what it ends up becoming. But so this is about buying games to sell in particular. So what I mean by that is I have friends who know that I do this, and every once in a while someone will say, "Hey, I have a bunch of games. Would you be interested in selling them?" And I say, "Of course." And I always feel obligated to say, what I'm going to do is price them out, and then I'll pay you what I think is a fair price. So I always try to give them a deal in some ways, best as I can. But there's some hard truths about that, and I've learned that I probably shouldn't do it anymore just because of that obligation that I feel towards like making sure my friends don't feel like I'm ripping them off. And this is the first time I've done it where I was like, okay, this is the way I should be doing it, and I just felt awful. So my buddy had 18 games. Almost all of them are PS2 completes. Some of the highlights, I guess, would be, one of them is Star Wars Master of Teräs Käsi, which is like a PS1 beat 'em up, which is awful but sells for a decent price. Spyro Year of the Dragon for the PS1 disc only, so that's another kind of decent one. These are the moneymaker ones that I'm going down real quick. Yeah. Then we've got what is it? Ultimate Spider-Man. It's pretty decent seller for the PS2, and it goes down from Dead or Alive, Kingdom Hearts, Lego Batman, some kids games, 007 from Russia with Love, which is actually a really good game. Anyways, so some of your basic like Lord of the Rings, and it goes on and on. And so I priced it out, and the rule of thumb that I found is that you need to make sure that you're going to get 3 times what you put into it. And so in this case, I came up with a total of $20 for the 18 games, which is a little over $1 a game. And I've felt really bad giving him $20 for that. And I almost upped it when I made the exchange. And I'm thankful I didn't, because I was trusting my instincts. And so far, I've sold 8 of them, most of the moneymaker ones. And I've made a total of $19 profit, which means that I've made back the $20 and then $19. This is subtracting eBay, PayPal, shipping, and other fees that are associated with selling online. Give me a second here. So I've netted an average of about $5 per game so far. I can estimate that based off of this, I can estimate that I'll make about $48 more profit once it's all said and done, for a total of $68 profit. But this is the part where it's like, oh man, I totally ripped my friend off. I made all this money. But the truth is, it's 3 times what I put into it. But the reality, this is where it kind of starts to fall apart, where you're like, well, wait, I need to reinvest that money to continue to generate capital, like to continue. You
got to buy inventory.
Right, I've got to continue to replenish the inventory. If I took all that money as profit, I won't make any more profit. And so
the gravy train would stop.
Exactly. So I have to take, let's say another $20 out of that and then reinvest it into the company to continue to keep it growing. Otherwise, I can't continue to make money off of it the way that I do and keep a roof over my head, and I'd have to go out and get another job again and that kind of thing. So all said and done, I'll really probably only be making $50 profit. Now, the big picture is, based on my personal budget in my household, that's 1 day of money that will sustain me. So for those $18 games and that money that I put in and all of that, that will sustain me for 1 day based on our personal budget, which is actually very small for, I think, most people, especially given that we have a kid. And so
me and my wife live very frugally as well.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean.
Yeah. And so and part of it's by choice. Part of it's, there is an element to when you're making maybe a bit more money like I used to, I carried more debt. And so that creates a different kind of stress. It creates obligations to staying in your job and feeling trapped and that kind of stuff is what I felt.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just wanted to kind of give a little dive into, especially when I imagine owning a brick and mortar store, I can't imagine it. I don't know, frankly, how any retro gaming store does it. Really, I mean, GameStop, I think they would have gone a lot, possibly lower. I think, he might have gotten maybe $10, $13 from them for this set of games. But they're a brick and mortar and they've got employees, and it's fascinating to me that they can even withstand whatever those kind of hits bring.
Well, there's volume, right? So you are only one person and you can only do so much in one day. And like if I go to Half Price Books, they have scale. They have a number of people doing a number of things all at the same time. And, there's obviously some benefit to having that.
Yeah.
So like, I know I've only took things to Half Price Books once, and from the best I can tell, they only gave me about 20% of the value. So like if he took his PS2 games to a bookstore or a store like that, he would have got a little more than half of what you gave him. I suspect GameStop might be around that 20% mark as well. Yeah. But then a dedicated mom and pop game store, probably depending on the PS2 games, would have been between 40 or 50%. So let's say it was 40%, right? Like let's say your friend wanted cash, so the store is going to offer him 40% of the value. That's $40 versus $20, and he had to get in his car and go sit in a store for 30 minutes. And that's kind of my final point. I'm friends with both of my favorite game stores in this area of Wisconsin. And one time, a few years back, he was like, I feel really bad for giving you this amount. And I'm like, dude, you're saving me time. I don't have to take pictures of this. I don't have to put it on eBay. I don't have to deal with going to the post office. Yeah. There is so much crap that I don't have to deal with that I will just sell it to you for 50% of the value instead of 80% of the value, because that's how much I value my time.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure your friend probably could have got a few more dollars, but would that have been worth his time to dick around for an hour or two? Maybe not.
Yeah. Well,
so that's another way to look at it.
Yeah. And it's possible. I'm most likely estimating high. I think I probably should have even gone lower because, frankly, if depending on how much the games go for, that's where you really see a lot of stuff get eaten away with shipping costs and whatnot. Because what I found on eBay is to just do a buy it now with free shipping, and that gets the most buyers' eyes, basically. Because I think a lot of gamers are sort of impatient, maybe slightly impulsive.
It's funny you say that, because I have 880 or so original Xbox games, and I bought the first 800 locally, and then there was no more games left for me to buy. So I finished off my Xbox set partially through a Facebook group and partially through eBay. And so I'm part of like an Xbox collecting Facebook group, and I bought a game from Canada, like buy it now, the free shipping or reasonable shipping. And then the guy like called me out on Facebook like, dude, you just bought a game from me. Send me a list of everything that you need. And he gave me a really, really sweet deal. Basically, I think I bought 20 or so games from him. And not only did he threw in shipping for free, and then basically took that price and took 20% off of it. So I basically got these games shipped from Canada for 20% less than any other copy I could find on eBay. But that's, I guess, not my point. My point is the last 80 games, besides that little bundle, I just went on eBay, searched for the game, no auctions, cheapest was shipping, and found the first acceptable copy. Yeah. I didn't bother with any auction.
Well, and it's funny, especially since he's from Canada, customs and all of that, even though he was giving you a sweet deal, it worked out better for him that way than selling them on and off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Good.
and so it works both ways. It works, you guys are both satisfied, and it works out great. And that's really the ideal situation. Yeah, it's just what the other thing is these have got to sell, and that could take a long time. You want a good turnover. You want to turn over at least twice in a year. We're not there at all, and at least for the game side of the business. And that's because we're trying to retain that margin that we want. But yeah, that impulse buy I think is common among gamers, and I think part of it is not wanting to have to go through the process of an auction, but also wanting to make sure you get the thing. And
yeah,
when you're looking,
you're right.
When you're looking at the photo and you see the condition and you go, "That's a good copy. I want that copy." That's what we go for. So we try to make sure that I'll take the time to take the stupid stickers off from GameStop or wherever it came from and get rid of all that crap. And I'll even every once in a while I'll take like 40 of the shell cases for disc-based games, take all the sleeves out and the instruction manuals and everything, and then soak them. Because sometimes, some of these games end up from sellers or wherever.
I bought 880 Xbox games, man. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so, but it's done in mass and everything to try to make sure I'm not wasting my time or anything like that. But yeah, it's tough.
It's funny because there was a couple of Xbox games where I paid the extra 50 cents to not have the stupid GameStop sticker on the spine.
Yeah.
And oh my God, GameStop went through a phase there where they put the spine sticker on the actual
inside
art.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And they use these dry stickers. And they do it on purpose. It's so frustrating. They try to man, I could go into that. I feel like they were intentionally trying to depreciate some of the value of certain things. I don't know why though. It didn't make any sense. But yeah, they. And then there's a whole art to it. I use Gugon, but there's risks.
Before we get to Gugon, didn't GameStop, didn't they would sell DS games loose and throw away the package, throw away the clamshell and do other weird things like that?
Oh yeah. They still to this day will pre-open brand new games and sell them to you as new.
Oh my God. Yeah. The last 2 things I bought from GameStop, I had to. There were 2 shmups on the 360. One of them was, I don't remember. I think it was Death Smiles. And I'm like, all right, I'll take Death Smiles. And he grabs the thing off the wall. Yep. And then he puts those clear stickers over the tabs. And I'm like, I don't want those. Why are you putting that on my thing? Well, it has to be new. I'm like, it's not new. Clearly you've been in there.
We have very different definitions of new.
But yeah, there was somebody on the Xbox group told me there's something called, I think, rubber cement dissolver that they use for taking Scotch tape off of old photographs and it will dissolve the glue without hurting the photo. And he says that this will dissolve the glue of those stupid GameStop stickers without damaging the paper.
You got to have something really valuable to be that worth the time to go through that.
Well, that's easier than a heat gun then peeling the sticker off and then going over it lightly with Goo Gun.
Yeah, it never looks right afterwards either.
If you hold it up to the light, it looks...
discoloration and all kinds of things.
But yeah, that's been my biggest pain and that's got to be your biggest pet peeve.
It is
there's no reason for that to be on the paper.
No, and it's really a shame when it's a good game. I don't care that the game is going to go for nothing practically, but when it's a good game, it's like, dang it, this deserves more respect. There's so many bad games.
I hope they die just because they put all those stickers on the spines on the paper instead of the outside.
Yep.
And I feel bad for all the people that will lose their job, but my God, that's a stupid policy.
Yeah. So until next week, I'll have another.
Sorry.
I'll have another little tidbit into the world of scummy reselling. And
right on.
Yeah, maybe this will inspire some listener questions too. So
I guess the only thing that pops off the top of my head is, at what point is it not worth it? Like, to me, like, clearly you would rather buy one game for $20 and sell it for $60 than buy 18 games for $20 and sell them for $60. But I guess that's not always possible.
no, and you start to learn weird buyer tricks, which I can totally talk about in the future. But there's weird ticks that people have when they buy stuff, and when you start to learn that, it feels like you're hacking the system, and like exploiting is a word that could pop into your head. But you realize that this is how people buy things, and it's very strange. People are very strange sometimes when it comes to shopping online.
Or they're drunk.
That's another possibility.